Let's talk about tonguing for a minute. By definition, tonguing or articulation is the clear, clean start to every note. So if you allow me to use my hands to demonstrate, if you think of this as your two front teeth, and this is the tongue, I certainly recommend that you tongue here at the bottom of your front teeth, not up here. So the idea of tonguing is to bring your tongue away quickly, like this, rather than using your tongue as a percussion instrument. So a part of tonguing is to make sure we have a good, clean, well-focused sound. So I get all of my students to start with a long note. Yes, tonguing is part of a long note. It's a slice of a long note. Again, I come back to A. Am I hung up on A? Maybe. But it's a nice, easy, clean note. And I would go forward here. You might even want to use a much more focused sound than you normally would use. Of course, I'm checking for two things. One is the center of the sound, the focus, and the other one is really good breath support. We need excellent breath support for tonguing. So then I use a series of 4 long notes or 4 crotchets or 4 quarter notes like this. I'm doing that specifically to make sure that my tongue is going in the correct place and making sure it's not creeping back up. So we have a long note followed by 4 longish crotchets. Now listen out for this. If you notice a pitch change, it means your support has fallen off completely. We tend to do 2 things when we tongue. We forget about music and we forget about support. We have to really remember both. So again, we come back to this long note. This long note is like an even thing that we keep an eye on everything with. So then we go on to 4 short quavers or eighth notes. And the idea of this is getting the tongue back as quickly as possible. This return of the tongue dictates how long the note is, or indeed really how short it is. So we go through the whole process: long note, long quarter notes, and then short quavers. When you're practicing tonguing, think about 3 things: the quality of the sound, or the focus of the sound, breath support, and your tongue position. Without all of these 3, you're not going to have an easy time. It's much better to learn the technique than to spend hours a day practicing with a poor technique. You're only going to compound your problems. So let's come back to this idea of tonguing. And I haven't even mentioned the word speed yet, because we don't have to worry about speed. We worry about and think about clarity of sound. We want speed, we talk about double tonguing, which I'll talk about right now. Double tonguing is actually using the syllable de, g. Note I'm not using the words t, k. T and K, for this purposes, are actually too hard to sound. I prefer to think of the d and g, which is sort of a bad French accent. So we're working with a sound at the back here going g. So let's go through this whole system again. Long note, long crotchets, and then I'm going to do short notes, but I'm going to use g or k for the sound. So I'm just using k for the faster notes. Now, of course, we need to strengthen this a little bit, because this is further away from the opening here. So it has to be a little bit clearer than the actual straight tongue. So double tonguing itself is very simple. We just add the t, the d, and the g together like this. But coming back to the long note first. I'm thinking really smooth, digga-digga-da, digga-digga-da, digga-digga-da. So that's simple. But the real challenge now is in actual coordination. And this is the thing where we don't want to be doing Hail Mary tonguing. It's like a kick in rugby where you kick it and you hope it goes out. We don't want to do this sort of thing, which is Horrible. Yes, of course it's horrible. So we need to talk about this notion of play move. And this notion of play move is play and then move the finger in advance, play again, move the finger in advance. I'll demonstrate this on C major. It's the best way to demonstrate. Doesn't matter how slow you play it, we're trying to train the brain. And this is a great way for coordination. Have another look. And this is actually the exercise I remember where I got the notion of goldfishing, because this student was doing this. I said, you look like a goldfish, but that actually led to a better exercise. Be careful not to disturb the embouchure much at all. So the whole notion is that if you start with the tongue and the fingers together and get faster, there's a great chance that they'll part company. Start over here with the tongue earlier, finger, tongue, and you get much better coordination. Of course, the faster you get, the two of them join up together. Now I'm going to add the g instead of straight tongue. No faster, because we must learn to double tongue at a slow speed. All the time I'm in control of the actual coordination. Now be patient. Good tonguing and good double tonguing takes a long time. Make sure you get the technique down before you try to apply it. And don't close your eyes and hit and hope and just hope that your fingers coordinate with your tongue. They won't. There are many other exercises we can do. Again, using the play move notion, we can have an extension of double tonguing is actually triple tonguing, which is the same idea, the same notion. Nothing changes, except you end up with da-ga-da-da, digga-da-da, 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 like this. I'm literally doing da-ga-da-da, da-ga-da-da. Or you can experiment with the da-ga-da-ga, da-ga-da-ga, which changes around, but I have a preference for straight triple. Da-ga-da-dum, digga-da-dum, digga-da-dum. And remember, everything stems from the position of the tongue and the g and good support.